Hello and welcome. My name is Guy Terrell, and I'm the co-author with Professor Jack Trammell of a new book named Cookbook Investing. Jack and I wrote 3 books together over 5 years. We talked about our interests over those years, and we both invested in stocks with varying degrees of success. Jack suggested that we write a book on the stock market. We wrote a book about investing at the time of the pandemic. We contacted some agents, and since we didn't have a big name that would attract readers, no one offered to represent us, so we dropped the effort. Then in 2024, Jack suggested we rewrite the book. After almost 5 years, we re-examined what we had learned in our 5-year review. We found new perspectives and developed a new approach to our own investments. Prior to Jack and I working together, the woman seated next to me, whom I will call Sarah, to protect her identity, asked me to invest some of her money. Sarah, how did you decide to call me?
Well, at that point in time, I had some money I wanted to invest. It was savings, and plus I had some CDs, and I wanted to invest them in something that would give me some little more return. And so that's when I called you. I knew that you had been investing in the stock market, and I knew that you didn't mind doing the research and investigating into companies, which I wasn't interested in doing that. So that's when I called you to see if you would help me out with some investing.
You're lucky you didn't make a mistake. When you contacted me, that was just as the stock market was headed down. It was the beginning in 2008 of the financial panic that enveloped Wall Street over 2008 and 2009. But we invested in individual stocks, and it looked like it went pretty good for a bit. Then it promptly went down, and you did not flinch. Is what the word I'm looking for. You did not flinch. And you said, let's just keep going. So we did. Sarah has more than just this CD. She has her pension and another IRA. So this was not like her whole life. And she shared with me what was held in those other accounts. So I knew kind of that I wanted to invest your money into things, more growth things. And that's what we did. So I remember sitting in my car debating whether I should suggest what she did. Let me interrupt. What she did is she set up an E-Trade account and gave me her password, and I would use her account to trade the stocks. So she didn't have to go in there each time. Now, today, there's more safeguards on these accounts, and so if I go in there, I have to get a code from her to log into the account. But we've known each other for a long time, and that was a safe way. Plus, in E-Trade and every other brokerage account, if somebody tries to log into your account or change something in your account, they send you an email that says your account has been looked at by someone else, and to contact them if so. So it was, to my way of thinking, it was safe. I was not licensed, and but I went ahead. I was just a friend investing, and that happens all over the place. So I suggested she buy Apple shares. This was in November 2009. And I remember sitting in my car, leaving work that day, and I thought, are you crazy? What if it was, because Apple was $200 a share roughly. I said, what if that goes down? But decided to do so. I only bought 25 shares, and it promptly went down. And that happens all the time in the stock market. It's like flipping a coin. Today, any stock you own or buy it could be up or down a little any day. So I purchased 25 shares for her account, and they were about $200 each. And it went down to about 180 or something like that afterwards. But then we just sat tight with the funds. And after that, it went up gradually, and Steve Jobs unfortunately passed away, and Apple stock went down then, but it recovered. It's the kind of stock that it's not dependent on just one person at the top. They have a culture of innovation that Steve Jobs created. And so it worked out. It went from the 25 shares, went up and up, I don't remember what it was, and they declared a 7-for-1 split. So she had 25 shares, you ended up with 175. I suggested that you sell the 75 and keep the 100. That was an error because if you'd had more money, sorry to say, if we kept those other 75 shares and as well. But that went into other things that went up too. There's an old adage that you let your winners run. And Peter Lynch says, don't sell your winners and keep your losers. He says, don't water the weeds and pull out the flowers. So if something's going up,
Keep it.
Keep it.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're right. I suggested that from time to time you might sell some stocks.
And I did from time to time when I needed money. I just sold, and we looked at what I had and determined what would be the best to sell at that time.
I learned from watching the old Wall Street Week with Louis Rukeyser. He had this elderly stockbroker on there. His name was Julius Westheimer. And I remember Louis Rukeyser asking him that question, when do you sell? And Julius Westheimer answered, buy when you have money, sell when you need money. Because if you try to figure out the market timing and everything else, your chances are not very good. So as of October of this year, Apple stock represented 47.6% of your portfolio. And this is why I recommend buying individual shares and not mutual funds, because mutual funds have guidelines and legal requirements that if a certain stock gets to be too big a piece of their portfolio, that they have to sell some of it just to be prudent. So it worked to your advantage to have Apple and to let it run and run and run. So the bottom line is your gain in Apple stock is, let me check that number, 3,292%.
Yeah, that's great. Let's do all of them like that.
I wish I knew that. But you only need to find one stock that's a star in any portfolio, and it will salvage it. And when they go down, sometimes you just have to let them stay down, and then you come back to them. I then suggested that we were doing so well, this was in 2009, and the market seemed to be coming out. I asked you, did you have any more money?
What did I say?
You said yes.
Okay, so that's when I put in some more.
And we opened the other account at Merrill Lynch. And that one has grown nicely, but it hasn't grown like this one because of Apple. It's grown similar to the other stocks in your portfolio. You cannot time the market. I think we've talked about that. And I have read that it's not market timing, it's time in the market that makes the difference. And fortunately, you have a personality that doesn't panic over everything.
Well, this is money I'm investing, and that's why it's there. It's there to grow, and I'm fine just leaving it there to let it grow at its own pace. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down.
very good.
Yeah, but that works for me. Works
Good.
for me.
And what happens to this money later?
Well, when I need it, I can take some money out of it.
Well, what I'm heading at is that ultimately, you told me you didn't want to pay taxes on these gains and not to sell anything if possible.
Well, if something goes down, that might be an opportunity to take it out there. And
Could be.
yeah,
But what I'm getting at is that ultimately you want to pass this on to your family.
yeah,
And there's a great thing that is built into our system that if you leave stock to someone when you pass, you may have bought it at this price and it's at this price, and when you pass away and the will is executed and those shares go to your heir, that their cost basis jumps up to what it was on the day of your death. And so you don't have to pay. That's how families have gotten rich. They don't pay taxes on gains, and they just keep passing it on and passing it on. Do you have any other thoughts on this?
no, I'm just glad that we've done what we have, and I appreciate all your research and you're looking at what do you look at when you try to evaluate a company?
I use analyst reports because that's their job. They're in business to do that, and they know more about balance sheets and income statements than I do. And so I rely on that. And over time, there are certain analysts that I watch, and I know that they're reliable and their advice is sound. But you also added to this. You balanced out my thoughts because I do panic sometimes when things go down and want to say, I want to get away from the pain. The pain of losing is twice psychologically, the pain of losing feels twice as bad as the delight you get from something rising. So you always kept, because you don't watch the stocks daily or weekly or anything, that you left it alone, and you were the captain of the ship who said, just sail on.
So it was an advantage for me not to be that much involved in the details because I didn't worry about them.
That's right.
Well, thank you for all your help in helping me with my portfolio. It's done very well. I appreciate it.
It still keeps growing.
Yeah.